This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, fine. So guys, basically, I want to know your background actually so that I can understand how to proceed from here. What technology you work and what's your background?
Vikram, I do not have any technical background. I'm completely into service management, the
Service
ITIL
manager. Okay.
process management. Yeah.
Okay. And Vinay into the Java platform, right? Okay. Fine. So let me start. So this is like, 1 second. 1 second. MS Paint. It will work in MS Paint, not in Notepad. Okay. So fine. DevOps, first of all, it's, guys, this is a new SDLC procedure, a SDLC. So this is a new model that has been emerged in the market, and this is not new. It is actually way back from 2006, but technically it has been approved by the IT industry in the 2013. So currently we have the market for this. But basically, to understand the DevOps, there is some historical background is there for this. So it's like, about Agile, correct? Any idea on Agile? Maybe Vinay is aware of it,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah. So currently the transformation is happening from the Agile to the DevOps. So prior to the Agile, we had a lot of models. So basically, it all started from the 1962. Roughly, this is was the period where computers were commercialized. Now, when the computer were commercialized in 1962, because we need to understand history so that we'll get a link why the DevOps now.
Yep.
Now, in the 1968, roughly 65, sorry, this is where IT industry has been established. IT industry. So by this time, what happened is when IT was established at this time, everybody were trying to produce the software in their own fashion or the applications in their own fashion. Let's say there is a company, let's say there is a B company. They're trying to produce their application in their own style. So what happened is there was no common, what do you say? There is no common standard procedure here. So let's say A company is trying to produce some methodology and B company is trying to produce some methodology and C company. So what happened is there was no unanimous opinion among them what is the right procedure. Because of this, there was one parameter which was metric, let's say standards. Standard was missing. In fact, if the standard is missing, another parameter comes into picture, that is the quality. So quality is a parameter which is missing. So thereafter, what happened is when the quality was missing, it was like they thought about having in 1968. In the 1968, they thought about having a standard procedure because by the time there were other industries who have reached the mature state because like mechanical industry or mechanical or automobiles or let's say iron and steel. These were the industries which were following certain standard procedures in delivering their kind of a product. Now here also this kind of a thought has been started in 1968. So this thought was kept on going in 1970. What happened is a model called as Waterfall has come into the picture, which was invented by a person called Winston. So Winston is a person who invented this waterfall model. Technically, he invented this waterfall model for automobile industry. But our guys, IT guys who were looking for some standard procedures, they were looking, researching in other sectors. They came to know, okay, this model may be suitable for their task. This is what they came to know. So what they done is they replicated this model in IT sector in 1972 and introduced with the same name called Waterfall. I think you guys know what is waterfall, right? So waterfall is a first SDLC model, which was accepted in the IT industry. So SDLC is nothing but your software delivery life cycle. Now in the waterfall, guys, let me know what is, let's try to understand clarity on SDLC first. So the first model is waterfall. We'll see in detail shortly, but what is SDLC is a question. So for example, when you are trying to make a tea, tell me guys, what are the components that are required? When you make a tea, for
From
example, sugar,
tea
milk,
powder,
tea powder, anything more?
gas,
Yeah,
or
gas. You need some kind of fire system like matchbox,
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Anything more?
and the bowl,
Yeah, bowl. Anything more? Water?
maybe cups. Yeah, water
Yeah,
cups.
water. Okay, cups to serve. Now, in this, tell me, guys, if it is, let's say, there is a company who says this is an SDLC, they say that I'm trying to follow some SDLC, they'll come up with saying 10 steps. Let's say B company is trying to say I follow 5-step procedure, or C company is trying to say I follow 15 steps procedure. Now, there might be some steps common in every company. Do you agree with that point?
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
Now, then, how exactly you can define SDLC now? That's the question. So we cannot say that all steps are incorrect, nor we can say 5 are incorrect, nor 15. But there will be some kind of common steps which are accepted in the industry, correct?
yes,
Yeah, that's part that forms your SDLC. Like here in the tea, for example, even without sugar, you can make tea, correct?
yes,
If I remove tea, okay, if I remove water, correct, because we can make tea with milk, tea powder is required, gas is required, yeah, bowl is required. So these are external, but technically this becomes mandatory. Do you agree?
yes,
Yeah. So exactly in the software delivery, whatever the steps that become mandatory, or you can say that these steps you cannot override. This will be there pakka. I mean to say, these are the steps that we follow 100%. So that actually forms your SDLC. Maybe a company is following a number of steps, but not a number of steps are part of SDLC. Those are their innovative stuff, but technically whatever the steps, you cannot say that I'm not doing this. Like for example, planning or your design or your code activity or your test activity or your test, plan, design, code, or your test or deploy. Now, can you say that are we delivering any project without this?
no,
No, correct. So, are we delivering any project beyond this? Yeah, we are doing beyond this. There are, because if you check the project model of few companies or few projects, you'll find that they implement lot of steps in between this. They try to come up with a new innovative steps in between. So these are all what extra fitting we can say, but technically this is what SDLC means. Definitely you'll have planning activity, definitely you'll have design activity, definitely you'll have coding activity, testing, and deploy. Deploy means in the sense we have to understand production, okay, or
yeah,
maintenance. So this is actual an SDLC. Got it? So SDLC means not all the steps. SDLC means the mandatory steps which are required for your delivering a product. Now,
yeah,
likewise, once you have the clarity of SDLC, the first, let's see the first one. First one is waterfall. Okay, waterfall was trying to implement an SDLC approach. Like that approach they follow, it is called phased strategy. They implement a strategy called as phased. Let's see now. Strategy is phased. Now, in this, we have segments like steps. We can say first they say plan, then they just go with the design, then they just go with the code, then they just go with the test, or then they just go with the deploy or maintenance, we can say. Now, your thinking or thought process should be in the perspective of 1970s only, because this model came in 1970s. You have to think from 1970s approach. Now, the people who are handling this space, technically these are classified as developers. The people who are handling beyond this space, technically we generally say ops team or operations. Correct? Now, now the question is, so what is happening here is, one second. Okay. See, once you start with, this is how it happens. Let's say once you got a project. Now, once you got a project, the human resources are decided what human resources are required. Now, in this, there are two things. One is called capacity analysis. First is strategic analysis. It will happen. Strategic analysis generally is done by leadership people. Okay, they'll apply the strategic analysis on this. This is all about thinking about end result of the project. If a company takes a project, what they are going to get, they think in the form of every angle, like what company is going to get, what financially they are getting, and what benefit they are giving to the market, those kind of stuff. That is strategic analysis. If their strategic analysis is incorrect, sometimes they land up at wrong place. Correct? If let's say they thought, let's say they thought that we are getting a 10 lakh project, but at the end, if they calculate wrong, their estimates went to 12 lakh in implementation. So now you cannot ask a client to pay more 2 lakhs, correct? So
Yes.
this forms the strategic analysis. Now, once you have the strategic analysis done properly, then you go with capacity analysis. And this is generally done at a topper level. So capacity analysis is all about understanding what we have in a company and what is the stuff that we require to implement the project. It may be like in the form of infrastructure, or it may be in the form of skills, or it may be in the form of technicians that are required for the company to implement the project. So it's all about what they have and what they have to acquire. Now, once everything is clear, they start doing this planning activity. Now, design and code. The question is all about, in this waterfall, they never implement two stages in a single go. It's like step by step. Once they're done with plan, they move to the design. Once they're done with the design, they'll move with the code. Once they are done with the coding, they move with the testing. Once they're done with it, they just go with the maintenance or deploy. So if you apply this project model, you are never applying or you're never handling two stages in a single go. That's the rule here. Got it, guys? Now, what is happening is because of this model in the 1970, the project was like 3 to 5 years. The project used to take 3 to 5 years. That is a time frame. And today we know that we are able to do the deployment in 1 day or 3 days or 7 days max. Today, this is the style we are operating. But in those days, the deployment means 6 months. 6 months they used to take, because at this time we did not have a client and server technology, nor we had a remote in tool. So this is all like everything was going in manual procedure. So that's the reason we used to take 3 to 5 years of time if you are implementing phased strategy. Now, guys, tell me, do you think this model will fit current environment?
No.
No, because today we are in world of faster delivery. So this is not suitable. And even in those days, this model was started questioning, because always remember, when the model comes into the market, everything goes good. Once they start using it, they come up with concerns, because that's what experience gives. For example, if you take about our Scooty Activa 1G, after 1G was released by Honda, we just went with 2G, 2G, 3G, 4G. Likewise, we have 5G. The only difference is they are doing product upgrade, correct? Defects in the older product, they are trying to come up with a newer product.
Yes.
Exactly here, exactly here. Once they start using the model, they're coming up with an experience that shows that these are the concerns in the system. So to overcome that, new models are emerging. Now, the problem with the waterfall model is the time concern. And the second thing is there is no proper integration between the developer team and operations. Because tell me guys, if these guys take, let's say, for example, if these guys take, let's say, developers take 2 years of time, for example, to complete their testing plan, design and test. Now what maintenance or a deployment guys would have with them? Any work? Do you think, do they have any work?
No, until development is not done, they'll not have anything.
Yeah. But today, now just compare today, if an resource is sitting idle for 15 days, we are trying to move that resource into a shared pool, correct? Shared pool or
Yeah.
any other project. But in those days, in 1970s, the model was like, it was like once you're hired for a particular role, you will be in that role only. That's all.
Hmm.
You're not into a shared concept, nor you're moved into other project. So that was one big concern. And the lead who is handling these operations would always have only one question with him. So when they are going to hand over the project, that's it. That's the only question he would have. Correct? Now,
Hmm.
once it reaches to their bin, they start doing deployment, and that's 6 months time. Now, this is the concern in this system. Human resources are not optimized. Resource is getting wasted, delay time, and somebody question applying phases strategy itself is wrong. Because let's say you're done with your coding and in the testing phase, you came across some bug. And ideally, if we apply our proper logic, we are supposed to send it to the coding guys, correct?
Yeah.
Right. That's what it has to go. But technically, what is happening is if you apply the rules of the phases strategy, you're supposed to begin from starting point. It's like you have to do replan, redesign, recode, and retest. So this was the procedures they used to follow in the waterfall. That's the reason it used to take a lot of long time. So in the time span, what happened is this model was negated or not appreciated